All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Bahashem, Ruach HaKadash. This video going to be about the truth about redlining the new plantation grid. The truth about redlining the new plantation grid. And what sparked this video is I'm somewhat doing a reaction to a comment that was left on, as you can see on the screen, the truth about Craig checking Corey Holcomb on 5150 show. Go check it out. Close to 2,000 views, published 3 days ago. And it's a pretty good video, right? Dealing with the situations and the times that we are living in. But anyway, a comment on here that sparked me doing this video is right here by Donald C216T 3 days ago. My brother, I'm with you. What's the next move? Seriously. Meaning, what should we be doing in order to not have to depend on, the topic that I was talking about in this video? Like I said, you want to know what I was talking about or what the video was about, go check it out. The truth about Craig checking Corey Holcomb on the 5150 show. But I replied back to him. Okay, let me go down. I replied back to him. I said, ownership to the best, should have say of our ability, but whatever. What I mean by having our own without jealousy. So ownership is the key to being in the best position that we possibly can be in this place called America. And this is why I'm talking about the truth about redlining, the new plantation grid. Okay? And this is going to be the jumpstart to probably a series that I'm going to be doing to help us brothers and sisters out in order how not only to survive, but to thrive and to be successful when it comes to generational wealth. But be as it may, the reason why I want to talk about this, because this thing called redlining is the new plantation grid. And it was used very smart and systematically to put us in a position that we as a whole are in this place called America. And when I talk about us as a people, we talking about the so-called black man and the so-called black woman, right? I know that the Emancipation Proclamation 1863 was when they said no more chains physically. It's when they declared publicly and openly that slavery has ended, right? Like we living in a time, like we living in a society where we are truly free, like we made some type of progress. But what they failed to tell you that the progress that we believe we're made as it relates to slavery, it just changed from one course to another. We may not be dealing with physical chains, right? But in reality, there's still chains that they put upon us as a people, and they use this chaining that they put upon us after they announced the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. They did it by redlining, right? We made progress physically. We don't have chains on us no more physically. They no longer whip our backs physically, but through the process of redlining, they whip our backs by doing it through credit. They whip our backs through debt. They whip our backs through auctioning off our neighborhoods. Yes, we may no longer be put on a chopping block, right? Physically, but they put us on a chopping block through our neighborhoods. And that's what you call redlining. It's the system where they drew the lines literally on maps and said, these black neighborhoods right here where you so-called black people live, we are making it that it's too risky for people to invest there. Trying to help you out. because ownership is very key, it's very important in this place called America. So when they started redlining, changed slavery from physical slavery, but to economical slavery through generational slavery, they did it with redlining. Now, how did they do it? When the so-called black man, the so-called black woman wanted to go to the banks or these different financial institutions to get money, to get loans, they denied them. So-called black people do redlining was deny loans, they would deny mortgages, they would deny access to upward mobility, right? They told our people, man, back in that day, the early 1900s, all the way, sadly, even to this day. Listen, we'll let you rent the building, we'll let you rent the property, but you can't own it. There ain't nothing but plantation, right? You work the land, but you'll never inherit it. You work the apartment building, you'll work the house, but you'll never own it. You'll always be paying rent because we redline your community, okay? So the few things I want to talk about when it comes to this redlining, because the truth about redlining going to open our eyes up to help us realize this was the new plantation grid they used to keep us down, to keep us defeated, to keep us in a position where we have to turn to the government for steady assistance, right? So, number one, redlining was economic warfare. I repeat, number one, redlining was economic warfare. This wasn't just about racism, right? Okay, I don't know why this is popping up, but get out of there. Okay, redlining wasn't just about racism. This was financial segregation. From the early 1900s all the way through the 70s, even still in some type of form today, the banks, the real estate agents, the government work hand in hand through homeowner loan corporations. Y'all know what them acronyms is, HOLC, Homeowners Loan Corporation, the FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration policies. They use redlining to keep you down, to keep you depressed, to keep you suppressed, to keep you oppressed, to keep you struggling financially to build any type of generational wealth for your people. And this is how they did it, right? I told you redlining is economic warfare. This is how they did it. They color-coded the map, right? They went to the map for the so-called good neighborhoods, white neighborhoods. They color it green. For the iffy, we all know about this neighborhood, it's iffy. They color it yellow. But for the so-called black communities where the black people was grouped at, they color it red, saying it was too risky, it was too hazardous. So that's why when our people, our forefathers went to these banks, went to these financial institutions to get a loan, to get some money, to get property and whatnot, they did not give it to them. They denied it because they came from the red zone. That's what redlining was all about, right? And this is how they got further upper hand. See, we think slavery in itself gave them a further upper hand as it relates to generational gap when it comes to wealth. But this redlining that they put in place furthered the gap, made a gap even that much more wider, because they was able to deny you access to funds, access to money, access to loans that would put you in place to get more prosperity when you become owners of the land. Listen, I want you to pay attention to this. Listen, redlining. I know they don't teach this in school. They want to keep us docile. They want to keep us sedated. They want to keep us depleted. They want to keep us distracted. They want to keep us taken up with all type of entertainment that mean it's no good. Redlining, right? When somebody came from the so-called green neighborhoods, Remember, on the map, they marked it green if it was a good neighborhood for them to say, we approve the loan. We approve you borrowing this money. We approve this, that, and the other to help you get property, to help you get land, and what have you. When it came from the green neighborhood, it was all fine and dandy, right? A so-called white man was able to walk into the bank and get a loan and to buy a house in the suburbs. But watch this. The black man, on the other hand, who had the same job, the same income, the same ambition, went into the bank to get a loan, dealing with the financial offers. And when he told the financial offers or the bank or whoever was in charge at the time, okay, where he was from, they went to the map, say, oh, he's from this neighborhood. Listen, denied. Even though he made the same amount of money, worked the same type of job, had the same ambition as the white man, he was denied. This what redlining was all about. And why was he denied? Because slavery changed from physical chains to economic chains, saying, because your skin color is not the right complexion for the connection, we're going to deny you because you're too risky. So they changed it from physical plantation, you being in chains, to a digital plantation. And this happened even before the internet came into existence. They came up with maps. They outlined the neighborhoods and saying, this neighborhood, because this is where we know the so-called white people at, when they come in, we're going to give them loan. We're going to further help them out. We're going to further make the gap between generational wealth even that much wider. But if they come from over there, where it's been redlined, we're going to deny them because it's too risky. Okay? That's what they did. Right? Number two, redlining. Put you in chains by your zip code. Man, I'm trying to help y'all out. By your zip code. Like I said, to reiterate, if you stay in the red area, you got stuck with underfunded neighborhoods, with poor schools, bad sanitation, toxic water, ultimately putting you in a position where you got no funds for investment. That's what they did. And they came up with this system way back before they even came up with the Emancipation Proclamation, because they always trying to work ahead. Okay, whenever you think they doing something for you, you best to believe they already got something else in place to cover what they are so-called doing away with. So before they even say, okay, we're going to proclaim nationally that no more slavery physically, no more chains. The reason why they did it, because they already had something else in place to keep you further in chains. I don't know why our people always think, oh, they passing this law for us. If they passing a law for you so-called black people, you best to believe they are passing it because they already got something in place to keep you further down. That's why we got to wake up. That's why we need to listen to the prophets that's out here telling us the truth. Listen, they redline our communities to further the generational wealth gap. They redline our communities to keep us away from resources. They redline our communities to deny us extra funds. They redline our community to keep us in a borrowing state instead of a lender state. Because the scriptures say the borrower is a servant to the lender. They redline our communities to keep us in a servitude disposition. They redline our community to keep us out of ownership. They redline our community to further their wealth. Why? Because the more we pay rent, we are paying rent to them to further their cause. And when we go to get a loan to own the land that we paying rent on, they denied us. That's why ownership, I wish I'd pray with me just for a little while. That's why ownership is very important in order for us to come out of the economic bullshit that we are in. You think the old folks just came up with that saying for a reason? The Most High blesses those who own what they have? Huh? Why? Because when you own stuff, oh man, I wish y'all pray with me. When you're in ownership, you're able to monetize your ownership. You're able to get more when you're in ownership. You're able to flip more when you're in ownership. You're able to do more when you're in ownership. When you are in ownership, more of your money is freed up to do more. They changed the chains. Oh, yes, Abraham Lincoln, we hear you. Emancipation Proclamation, freedom from the physical chains, freedom from the physical slavery. But we got something else in place. We gonna keep them still in slavery. Redline a community. Put them in chains according to their zip code. And this is why when you look at the inner cities, the urban so-called ghettos and neighborhoods, that's why you see underfunded neighborhoods, underfunded school system, bad sanitation, toxic water, and no investment. And let me tell you something. I'm going to come back to it. Let me tell you something. Even in making the neighborhoods underfunded, that was still part of the process. Watch this. Still part of the process. Because then when they did it later on, after it had reached its full effect, which we see it today, they come back around and saying, since you can't do nothing with the neighborhood and you was not able to do nothing with that neighborhood, since your community's blighted, you know what blighted means? Blighted condition means human neglect with no investment. The community steady go down in degradation through human neglect and no investment. That's how they set it up. They said your community is blighted. So what they ultimately do is come back after they done extracted all the resources out of you, after the community and neighborhood that got so bad, they come back and take what little you think you had and gentrify it. Man, I'm trying to help you. That's why you see so much gentrification going on. Where? Not in the suburb areas, not in the so-called green areas, not in the so-called yellow, because even though it was iffy, they still don't go over there and do the yellow, but they come back into the areas where they redline and do gentrification and get even more money, create even more wealth for themselves. That's why I keep telling you, brothers, we need to stick together. Like I said in this comment, let me go down. Okay? I said, we have to have our own without jealousy. You got to stop being jealous of your brother. Okay? You got to stop being jealous of your brother. We got to come together and start being owners. Start supporting one another. And I know this wishful thinking because until Yahweh Shah HaMashiach crack the sky open and come and call this world to order, it's going to be hard to do it. Okay? But to the best of our ability, we got to have ownership. This is what I be stressing to my brothers. Don't be jealous of somebody that's able to make moves right now. Don't be jealous of somebody that's in the forefront right now. Don't be jealous of somebody that's just the spearhead right now. No, line up. Don't break rank. Line up. If you line up and get with the program, it'll be better for the whole family. Number 3, redlining. I touched on this a little bit. Creates generational poverty. And when I say I touched on this a little bit, redlining created generational wealth for the so-called white people. Again, they got the maps. They looked at the maps. They looked at the neighborhoods. Oh, this neighborhood, it's kind of diverse. Okay, we got a little so-called black people over here. We got some Chinese people over here. We got some, whatever the case may be. So we're going to tag this area yellow. This is a diverse area right here. So we're going to tag it yellow, iffy, okay? And the reason why we're saying iffy, because if some good-to-do black person over there come, no, we still going to deny them, but the China man and the Japanese man and the Canadian man, they come from over there, we're going to give them loans because we ain't worried about them. No, we ain't worried about them, but we need to keep the so-called black people out. So even though that area was diverse, it was still iffy, but the so-called white people neighborhoods, we're going to tag that green. In other words, give them a green light. Every time they come ask for the loan, give them a green light. Okay, approve it so they can own their property, so they can own their land, so they can continue to get richer and richer and create wealth and wealth for their families. This is why when you look at the prosperity, this is why when you look at the generational wealth between the so-called white man and the so-called black man, their wealth is 7 to 10 times better than the black people, because not only did slavery put them ahead, but redlining further put them ahead. Now, I wish you would listen to me. So redlining, while it created generational wealth for them, it created generational poverty for the so-called black men and so-called black women. This is what you got to understand, because a lot of us are still on the hamster wheel. We still in a rat race. We're like a dog chasing our tail. This is what you got to understand, because they have manipulated us. They have deceived us. We think the more money we get, the better we able to create wealth. No, it ain't how it work over here in America. They lied to you. Okay? You can go ask for a promotion all you want. That's fine and Danny. Yes, we deserve promotion. You're going to ask for a raise all you want. That's fine and Danny. We all deserve a raise. Okay? But that ain't how wealth is built in this place called America, modern day Babylon. You got to understand, wealth in America ain't built off of your paycheck. It ain't built off of your pay raise. It's not built off of how much you make. Wealth in this land is built off of property. That's why the number one way to become rich in this place called America is through real estate. That's why they tell you, if somebody come and offer you, because, my pops was telling me about a situation down when our people had a lot of land down in Mississippi, end up losing it. And they came and built a Walmart on their land, making millions of dollars. Listen, when you got land and they come offer you $1 million for your land, you best to believe that land is worth $100 million. You got to know how to use what you own. You got to know how to invest to become owners. Investments is the key to building generational wealth here. Even if you own land, you can make money off of the land by selling the trees. They don't teach us this in our school system. Understand? Let me reiterate to you. Redlining created us to be more impoverished. Why it worked for them to become more generational in the aspect as wealth, gave them more generational wealth, created the gap bigger and made it more wider between the so-called white people, the so-called black people. Yes, redlining did that. Why? Because they've been trying to deceive us and tell us for the longest, the more money you make, the better. No. I think Biggie Smalls was one of the people that sung, the more money, the more problems. That's true. Right? That's true. Let's be real, because there's something about this devilish place where the principalities have set up in America. See, like the more money you get, the more problems. Your furnace go out, your TV go out, whatever the case may be. This is how this place is set up. So it's not about more money. They've been lying to us, telling you the more money, wealth is built off of your paycheck. Wealth ain't built off of your paycheck. Wealth is built off of property in this place called America. This is what you got to understand. So when they watch this, when they stop our grandparents from being able to get loans to buy their house, to jumpstart real estate, to jumpstart being owners of land, when they cut our grandparents out through redlining, that stopped us from being able to have compounded interest effect. This is what y'all fail to realize. See, when they start buying up all the land, they start having compounding interest effect. They started having money coming in after money, creating more generational wealth off of their property, creating generational wealth off of their land. Why? Because they was able to put that stuff in our community. And now, since we're not owners, we started making them rich through renting. And then they come out and tell us, oh, you stupid for getting a loan to buy a house. But damn it, you got a loan to buy a house. Your forefathers got a loan to buy a house. You try to keep us deceived. No, in this day and time with inflation and shrinkflation, with the economy being the way it is, you don't need to be getting no loan to buy a house. No, you trying to keep me further out of the piece of the pie. You better stop listening to these people to the best of your ability. Yes, get you some ownership to the best of your ability. The reason why I say to the best of your ability, because if you don't pay taxes, you'll lose the place. But if you're able to buy the house, you shouldn't be losing the place to the taxes, right? But when you buy property, so help me Yahweh, when you buy land and you flat out buy it, not only do you start creating generational wealth for your children's children will be able to benefit off of it. Now they can come up, not worrying about how to pay a mortgage, not worrying about how to pay rent. They can put more money into investments that will build a greater financial portfolio. I know y'all saying you're screaming y'all hype because this day ain't bothering me, okay? This day ain't bothering me. Matter of fact, let me grab a scripture because I know you got a lot of brothers out here talking about this ain't the time to be buying, what's the name, we in the land of captivity. I know we in the land of captivity, but the prophet Jeremiah tell me something otherwise. That's why I don't listen to all these people that's preaching and trying to give, the word on the most side out. Even some of these brothers that's out here in the streets. I don't listen to these brothers. Okay, I listen to El Apostle Tahar. Go check him out. His page is What Is the 666 Mark, GMS Truth, okay? And I listen to a couple of brothers that's affiliated with him, but the rest of these people, I don't be listening to them. They'll have you out here further poor. They'll have you further out here going into denigration. They'll have you out here messing up things for your children and your children, okay? Even the scripture I hear speaking to my mind in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 14, a good inheritance come from your father. Matter of fact, let me grab that before I get here because it's talking about houses. We listen to these people. These people don't know what the hell they talking about. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 14. Houses. I break it down so you can see it. Proverbs 19:14. Houses and riches are the inheritance of the father. What is saying? Land leads to riches, and riches leads to wealth, and then it become an inheritance where you can able to pass it on to your children. That's why I wish my brothers would wake the hell up. Listen, let me go back. I know we don't land in captivity. Listen to what the prophet Jeremiah was told by the Most High. Thus saith Yahweh hosts, the Elohim, in other words, our power of Yasharal, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. America is modern day Babylon. That's a whole nother sermon in itself. Watch this. Verse 5, because the Most High is speaking to you, he said, I allow you to be carried captive because you turned your back on me. I don't allow you to be taken in slavery because you turned your back upon me. But listen to this, even though you're in the land of captivity, I'm going to give you a little reprieve. In other words, I'm going to give you a little revive. And you'll find it over in Ezra chapter 9, when the prophet prayed for revival. The Most High say, even in the land of captivity, I'm going to give you a little reviving. When the Emancipation Proclamation came, that was reviving, a little reviving, not total revival. That was a little reviving. But since we was not in the book like we should have been in book, we couldn't see that behind the scenes. They would put a redlining in place to keep us further impoverished. But the prophet is coming along and telling you what thus saith Yahweh, just like the prophet. Listen, verse 5. Even though you're in the land of captivity, the prophet told them, build ye houses. Listen to these people out on the street talking about don't buy no house. This is inflation. The economy's going down. Donald Trump is in office. That ain't what the book said. The book said build ye houses. Get as much land as you possibly can. Get as much real estate as you possibly can. Don't be worrying about no Bentley. Don't be worrying about no Rolls Royce. You better get your ass some property. You better get your ass some land. Stop spending your money on all these liabilities. Stop spending your money on all of these things as soon as it lead a lot, as soon as it lead a store, it depreciate. No, get your hand on some assets, man. The scripture right here in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 5 said, in the land of captivity, I'm telling you how to survive. I'm telling you how to thrive. I'm telling you how to prosper. Build ye houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens. Oh, what I'm going to do? My food stamps that ran out. The reason why your food stamps that ran out because you ain't been doing what thus said Yahweh. Huh? You too busy worrying about government assistance. The Most High say, no, I'm giving you the key to your success. I'm giving you the key to your survival. I'm giving you your key to prosper even in the land of captivity. Don't worry about living in an apartment. Don't worry about living in no high rise or all this book. Buy you a house. Build you a house. Because when you build you a house, you can go in the backyard. And when food stuff run out, you can live and eat off of your garden, man. Listen to what the scripture says. Putting things in order. Build your houses, dwell in them, plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. Did it say eat off the fruit of SNAP? No. Did it say eat off the fruit of government assistance? No. It said plant a garden. I wish I had a praying crowd with me now. And eat the fruit of them. Watch this. He put that in perspective. Verse 6. Then he goes on to say, take ye wives. Beget sons and daughters. See, you so-called black man, you too busy chasing the wrong thing. You too busy chasing ass. You too busy chasing fame. You too busy chasing everything the Most High told you not to chase. He put things in order. Build first, then get you a woman. Build first, then get you a wife. Build first, then have you some children. Your mind is too taken up with sex. I tell my sons, don't worry about that. When you build, when you get yourself status, or like they like to say over there in Queen language, status. When you get you some status, when you get some status, you won't have to chase women. Women will chase you, man. All type of girls be hitting on my son. My son got his own job, building his own saving account, building his own checking account. My son got his own clothing line. Okay, and my other son is following in step. My son know how to, do videos, know how to edit, know all of this technology stuff. I'm happy with my son. Keep building. These women be trying to get when they see the success that you have, even as a sophomore, got his own job, about to have his own car. Okay, we putting stuff in place for them. All right? We tell them, listen, women gonna be there. Just keep building. This is why we messed up. We ain't paying attention to the redlining. We're not paying attention to these dummies and these idols and these agents that they set up in our community to keep us distracted with full fuckery and bullshit as it relates to entertainment. When the Most High has been telling us, listen, even in the land of your captivity, build houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat the fruit of, then get you a wife. Everybody out here just chasing ass. Everybody out here chasing women. Everybody out here just pandering after women. They ain't building worth shit. I don't got time to be pandering after women. I got too much to build. I got books I got to get out here. I got 2 published books, working on a 3rd one for next year. I got a clothing line. I got my own website. I got it, YouTube pages. I got too much I got to build. I got time to be chasing on women. Okay, I got a wife, and all praises to the Most High for the wife. All right, okay, because it's right here said, take you wives. Yeah, I can have more than one wife, but I don't got time for that. Listen, take you wives, beget sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that they may be increased there and not diminished. You see that? Don't be listening to these brothers out in the streets don't tell you can't increase in this place. You can increase in this place called America if you do it right by the Most High, if you do right by his prophets, and the prophets is telling you, build, get ownership, get real estate, get land, because you trying to live off a paycheck to become rich. It's not going to happen. Investments is the way here. The Most High want us to increase in the land of our captivity. It's right here in your face, that you may increase there and not diminish. Like I said, the average so-called white family still has 7 to 10 times the wealth of us so-called black people. That gap ain't accidental. It was engineered oppression until you wake up and realize this. No matter how much they get on these television shows and these YouTube channels and tell you, oh, it ain't the time to buy no house, but they buying up all the houses. This ain't the time to be buying no land. They buying up all the land. This ain't the time to be doing investment, but they getting all the investment. Stop listening to these damn demons. The prophet unto the nation is telling you what thus saith Yahweh, and thus saith Yahweh right here in Jeremiah chapter 29 say, yes, even though I put you in captivity because you're disobedient, I'm going to give you a little revival, and I want you to build houses. I want you to dwell in them. Don't sell it. I want you to dwell in them and plant gardens and eat the fruit thereof. And you keep doing it, you keep reduplicating. He goes on right here to say, you will increase there, not diminish. They transfer wealth through maps. They transfer wealth through laws. They transfer wealth through fake smiles. They come in there and you think they doing you a big one. They smile in your face. Oh yeah, this is a nice place. You can rent it for $800. And you think you getting a steal. They ain't no steal. They done paid for that twice over. They done made money off of that land twice over. They smile in your face because they want to keep you there. Build houses. You got to excuse me. I am a preacher at heart. Okay, not just a preacher at heart. I was called a priest. I ain't just no preacher at heart. Okay, the scripture tell me to lift my voice up like a trumpet. Cry loud. You're going to find that in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. I'm crying loud. I'm sparing not. Ownership, if you're going to stay here in America, is the way to create generational wealth. Listen, point 4. The Bible been told us that they were going to do all of this. Been told us. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me grab Habakkuk or Habakkuk, as some people like to pronounce it. I'm going to go to verse 9. Listen to what the scripture said. Woe to him that covet an evil covenant to his house. They may set his nest on high. They may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people and hast sinned against thy soul. See, the Most High even prophesied how they was going to use redlining and all this to cut, the people off. And we've been cut off because we ain't been paying attention to the scriptures. And we are just now starting to, we're not even catching up. Let's be real, we're not even catching up. Now, some brothers that's out here in the truth and really on the ground and whatnot, we getting some reprieve. We getting some little reviving in this land called America. But, the gap is too big. It's going to take a lot of brothers to wake up. But it's to the point where it's not going to happen in totality to the Most High come back. To the Most High come back. They covet our fields, okay? And I touched on this not too long ago. Let me find this. Micah chapter 2. Listen. I read verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning's light, they practice it, because it's in the power of their hand to do it. I told you, when they gave the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, you think they were doing a big one for us. No, they already had devised iniquity. They already worked evil upon their beds. So even though they said you're not going to be in slavery no more physically, we already got something in place to practice it. Why? Because it's in the power of our hands to do so. And this is how they practice it. They cover your fields. And they took them by violence, the houses, and took them away. So they oppressed a man in his house. Paying rent and all that, that's oppression. You stay in somebody's house and you pay rent. Not only do you pay their mortgage off, but you making them more rich. And they tell you, it's easy to pay rent. And we done got so lazy and we done got so delusional. A lot of our mind to be deluded to the point, I'd rather pay rent because I don't gotta go out there to shovel the snow. I don't gotta go out there to rake leaves. I don't gotta go out there to do the hedges. I'd rather pay rent. That's easy. I don't gotta worry about nothing. Come on, man. The scripture said, right? You that slothful is a great waster. You know that, right? And no matter how much we try to talk ourselves out of that, we just keep wasting. You wasting money. We all there. Let's be real. Matter of fact, let me grab that while it's on my mind. Because you coming up with all type of excuses to keep paying rent. Listen, because you slothful. You don't want to rake leaves. You don't want to shovel the snow. You don't want to go out there and have to put salt out. You don't want to go out there and have to, do a roof or put siding on. Man, listen, he also that is slothful in his work. That's been slothful in your work. Is a brother to him that is a great waster. When you count up all the years you've been paying rent because you have no ownership, you'll see how much money you wasted. It hurts me. It's saddens me. It make me mad. Huh? Ownership. Let me go back to this brother. Okay? And in the comment, I'm going to tell everybody, go check the video out. Donald. Okay? All praise to the most high for Donald. My brother, I'm with you. What's the next move? Seriously. Ownership. I'm going to keep saying it. Ownership. Let's go back to what it says. They covet fields, take them by violence, houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Man, we've been oppressed. Redlining, they knew nothing but further put us in an oppressed situation. And that's the redlining spirit that these people have. They cover our field, they take our house, and they oppress. They just didn't take our land. They took our legacy. And they still taking our legacy. Our forefathers built up this place called America, and still they're redlining us, keeping us away from the extra funds, keeping us away from grants, keeping us away from loans. They still trying to kill us. Number 5, redlining carry spiritual implications. Listen, redlining just wasn't policies they put in place. It was principalities that was telling these demons to put this in place to keep us further oppressed. That's why the scripture tells us we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Let me hop over there. Okay? Over here in Ephesians chapter 6. So y'all can see that this redlining is a spiritual implication against us. For verse 12, Ephesians 6, for we wrestle not against flesh or blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You see, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness, they was over areas. You hear me? Over areas. Spiritual wickedness in high places, over areas. Principalities is over nations, countries, okay? And your powers. If my memory serves me correct, because I broke this down before, your powers is the ones that's over states, right? Like your governor. President Donald Trump, he'll be considered a principality. Your powers is the ones that's over states. The rulers of darkness, that's come down to your mayors of the cities. Your mayors of the cities. Spiritual wickedness in high places. So redlining has spiritual implication, right? It's just Pharaoh seen in another way. They put us in slavery by taking the chains off of our wrists, but putting us in slavery do paperwork. You better understand, Pharaoh, he never died. That's why over there in Revelation chapter 11, it's talking about this place called America. It's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. That's why you got so much homosexual going over here, and it's called Egypt because Pharaoh is still alive over here. Pharaoh never died. The spirit of Pharaoh never died. He just put on what? The banker suits. He put on what? The suits and sat behind the desk. He put on what? The suits and signed paperwork to keep you further in slavery. Principalities, powers. Every time you walk into a bank and they deny you access to funds, that's Pharaoh at work. Every time you walk into these financial institutions to get some assistance, to get land and get, no, that's Pharaoh at work. Pharaoh at work. And this is how Pharaoh at work, you can have a good paying job. I know what I'm talking about because I've been there. I experienced it many times. You can have a good paying job. You can be making 6 figures. right? You can have no debt, and you go to get a loan, and they say, no, we can't approve you the loan. I'm like, look, man, I'm making 6 figures. What you mean you can't approve me for your loan? Because you have no credit. I told you they use credit, and they use debt to continue to redline you. Talk about you don't have no credit established. You can't get a loan. But look at the money I'm making. You ain't telling the so-called white man, the so-called white woman the same thing. Pharaoh ain't dead. Pharaoh in this place, through spiritual implications of redlining, is trying to steady keep us in bondage. And they do it legally. This is the sad thing, right? They do it legally. That's why I tell you, brothers, man, listen, sometimes we have to come together, pull our resources together, and buy one house, buy one piece of land, then reduplicate it. Make money off that. Buy one land, buy another house, reduplicate it. And keep building and keep building and keep building to before long, you have your own estate. A lot of people saying, I want this car, I want this and that. That's fine and daddy. What I want to be able to do is put my people in good housing. And I got the answers for you. I know how to use, I'm very financially literate, okay? Okay, I got I'm very financially astute. I know how to use no finance, no credit, no credentials. No cash, how to get properly. And I'm putting some stuff in place. They always tell you, use other people's money to get what you want. I'm putting some stuff in place. Okay? And when I put it in place, I'm going to come tell y'all. Because I don't got no jealous spirit. I'm tired of seeing Babylon oppressors. I'm trying to see this place take us from plantation to the projects. And then once you get in the projects, you're living down in the dumps, and it have an effect on your attitude, it have an effect on you raising your kids. Then you go from plantation to the projects, then to what? Probation. And once you mess up probation, you ultimately end up in the last P, which is prison. That's how they set it up. That's why redlining was put in place. From plantation to the projects to probation. Now we got what we want. Now we can put their ass in prison. Hear what the prophets is saying to you. And the prophet unto the nation to tell you, hear what thus saith Yahweh. Yahweh got the whole plan for us to be successful. So yes, redlining played a big part in us going further down in denigration, creating a generational wealth gap even that much wider. And why we over here talking about Gucci bags? Why we over here talking about Louis Vuitton bags? Why we over here talking about Gucci this and Louis Vuitton that? They steady creating a generational wealth gap. Why are we not talking about stocks and bonds? Why are we not talking about real estate? Why are we not talking about assets? Why am I so taken up with fucking liabilities? It's time out for you living for yourself. How many purses you need? How many book bags? I'm not helping out. I know what I'm talking about. I'm helping myself out. How many book bags you need? How many pair of Jordans you need? How many stockings and how many pants and how many leggings? How many outfits you need? Time out for living for yourself. A lot of us, you hear me saying myself because I got stuff in the closet I don't wear, still got tags on it, never used. I'm speaking to myself too. How much stuff do we need? Time out for living for yourself. Start living for your children. Start living for your children's children. Start living for your children's children. Start living for your children. I go back to Proverbs chapter 19. Oh, help me, Most High Yahweh. Verse 14, listen to what it say. Houses and riches are the inheritance of the fathers. Fathers, it's time for you to, let's see how the devil's trying to get me out of my zone. I'm in the zone now. Houses and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is for the Lord, from the Lord. That woman, all she think about herself, all she think about is her feelings. She don't care about building. She ain't from the Lord. She from the devil. Get her the hell out of your life. That wife ought to be there saying, listen, we gotta get land. We gotta get houses. We gotta leave an inheritance for the children. If she ain't there to help you build, if she ain't there to help you build a legacy, if she ain't there to help you build an empire, she ain't no good for you. Get her the hell up out your life. Hit the like and subscribe button for your boy. Share this video with somebody. All right, peace.